Hello, my name is Michael Garrick, and this is PoppinCulture. My guest today is comedian JD Colwell. Very funny comedian. If you're in North Carolina or South Carolina, make sure you check him out. Thank you again for coming on the podcast, man.
Hello, Michael. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it a lot.
No problem.
I've been looking forward to this. I've been seeing your little episodes and things, and I enjoy you as a person and like to chill with you. So thanks for having me.
No problem, man. No problem. Before we get into our topic, we'll be discussing weed and anxiety and how it's influenced pop culture. But before we do, I like to ask comedians, a lot of people focus on bombing, but I'm more focused on succeeding. So when was the first time you killed and how did it feel?
First time I killed? I don't think I've ever killed. But I guess better shows. There was this one mic. Oh, this is way back. So I've been doing this, I think we were just talking 12 years now. And there was this one mic back in the day in Charlotte. It's probably 10 years ago. It was at a place called Scandalos.
Okay.
So do you know anything about Charlotte? So I think it's the old Comedy Zone where it got turned into a Latin place that was a nightclub at night. Anyway, it was the best open mic in town on a Tuesday night. 150 people in the crowd, but it was like an Apollo-style open mic night, and I was the only white guy there. I'm fresh into the game, 2 years in. I've been working out at the airport. Everybody, I've got this whole new view on life that I really appreciate. So I was doing a lot of comedy about all that too, and I just had this dumb, gullible white guy that went up in front of this crowd, and that was probably I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It was just a lot of fun. Everything I said was just hitting hard, and everybody was enjoying it, and that was one of the hooks that keeps me coming back to do the comedy. I guess I don't know what killing it is. I feel like somebody else has to tell you that you killed it. True. I guess yeah.
True. Well, if not killing, when was the first time you felt like you did well?
Oh, okay. All right. First time I felt like I did well was yesterday. No. It was, let's see here. It had to be right after I started. The Crown Station was open and running, and it was at its old spot, but it wasn't called Crown Station. It was called SK Net Cafe, and it was just SK Net's probably about as big as this room.
Okay.
And stage in the corner, and then the other stuff was just like a bar, and it felt good because it was the open mic thing, and all of my jokes on my open mic notes, they hit, and so that was 6 months into doing, trying to be good at it. And so it's a good feeling when you can go, when you put in work and then have it, the kickback. And of course, as a comedian, the kickback is instantaneous if it worked or not. And that was one of the nights. I think it's probably a Wednesday night. I don't know when that was. What was that? 08, 09 or something like that. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Has anything compared to that feeling?
I mean, that's what we search for, honestly. At least me. This whole thing's like an addiction for me. I'm just trying to mitigate all of the stuff that happens in my life. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a hook. That's the feeling that you're chasing. It's the weirdest addiction ever. And so I think when you talk about killing it or whatever, I think it's just that feeling of holy crap, they're working and this is working. I think that's what you're chasing. So,
okay, cool. Before we get into the top, I have one more question for you.
Sure.
I've been doing comedy for 13 years now. How has it changed, in your opinion, in the past 13 years?
Landscape has changed of so much. Because politics has been outside of comedy, the political world and the real world has been not all that gravy, good news on the macro level. So to see that focus on the come down through the comedy, it's what will people laugh at or what won't they laugh at? And I've always been a rule breaker where you show me a rule that says I shouldn't do that, I'm probably going to try and do that. And those rules have just changed, flip-flopped what is appropriate, what isn't appropriate, and what can you laugh at or what shouldn't you laugh at. And so I think I've seen comedy evolve into more of a less of an observational type setup, into more of an abstract story style setup.
Okay.
And that's just from, I live and breathe this stuff. I just listen to it all the time and watch it all the time, and watch all the locals or the regional guys that run around and do all their shows and stuff. And I love comedy, and I think if I could put my finger on any of it, that would probably be just the pop culture itself is just morphed into what I don't even know if it's done morphing. So like that's been the biggest change in comedies, because you used to have like, when we were younger, how old are you?
29.
29. Yeah. So like when we were like, 10, I'm 35. So what, in our teens or whatever, like, and we're first starting to watch comedy, like everybody that we were watching was doing like observational stuff because they had referenceable like feelings on the world and things like that. So I think comedy's undergoing a change. Is it done changing? I mean, who knows? I don't know what's normal anymore. But that's the thing that I've noticed the most about comedy, is that the idea of it, there's no normalness to it at all anymore.
Yeah. I would say, and we'll like I said, we'll get off this in a minute. But the one thing, after watching old comedy, the only old comedy I saw where I was like, I'm glad that it's changed is very before I started doing stand up, I got into Richard Pryor and like Eddie Murphy and stuff like that. But I also saw this guy named Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
And I remember I watched his stand up, and I'm not like, like, oh, you can't say this, you can't say that. But I remember watching it, and I was just like, I don't find any of this funny. Like, I was just, do you know who that is by chance?
Yeah, he's a like the shock value.
Okay, but yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah. Maybe that's what he was going for. But the whole time I was just like, I don't think this should be said, I guess.
Examples of like, and he's just one of example of a lot of different facets of comedy too. Like, and I think, one perfect example of what you're talking about is that the idea of comedy when we were younger, like you thought that there was like a normalness to the comedy that you're watching, and that one obviously was outside of the normal. But now that, we have come along, I think every comedian is acceptable in its own sort of way. Even Andrew Dice Clay has his own, followings that they're feverish for it.
Yeah.
And I think as a comedian, I think that's your ultimate goal, is to just get fans that are willing to, do something like, like if you have a show coming up on a Thursday night and they're like, we don't have anything going on, and that's the best you can hope for. And then just keep on adding more and more and more, and keep having fun with everybody, really.
Exactly. Like once you get a fan base, they usually ride with you pretty well.
Oh yeah, yeah. And that's the ones that you want to like keep on, like giving good vibes with and things like that. You want to, if once you realize that people are like sort of paying attention to what you're doing and your quest and things like that, those are the ones that you kind of like, that's like, they're going to ride or die with you.
Yeah.
And you want to basically be appreciative of that. But from somebody on an Andrew Dice Clay level, like those people that are appreciative on that level, you can make a good living off of it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like I haven't like sold any merch yet, because I just know I don't have a fan base. But for people that sell merch, they tell me all the time, it's like that's money that you never thought you could make just off selling your shirt.
Sure. I mean, the merch is like, nowadays, this is another example I've seen evolve with the comedy, is that like everybody's going away from merch, and I actually pass out tip cards now. So like I have a business card, and it has like my digital tip, Venmo, Cash App,
Wow, that's
PayPal.
smart. That's great.
I don't have to carry around anything, and if people enjoyed themselves, they just scan it and send me some money, like.
That's a great idea for any comedians watching. Definitely try that out.
Probably shouldn't have given away my trades.
Okay, my fault. All right, I can edit it.
Edit that out. No, don't. Anyway.
Okay. Can you move the mic just a little bit closer?
Yeah.
You can scoot it up if you want. You can move it. Yeah. All right. And so we'll get into weed and anxiety. You chose the topic. Any special reason why?
I was high.
Okay.
And the idea of anxiety is new to me, and I've met a few people along the way where like anxiety really has a hold on their lives, and like it's like almost like a scapegoat for type things. And I don't know if I'm just realizing that I'm a lot more anxious than I have ever realized, or if like the idea of anxiety can be mitigated. So then I just smoke a bunch of weed and think about it like that. But nah, I think weed is great. and I don't understand why it's illegal. I think it has a lot to do with the, it's definitely prevalent in pop culture, if not adult culture as well.
Weed is very much a big part of pop culture. I did a little bit of research. When I say research, I mean CBD. I'm trying to get to that next level. I'm just like, I don't know, man. I just know I had a lot of friends that like went to jail over it, and I just don't want to be caught with the real thing. But what I can say for CBD, it definitely has helped me out a lot. It's not really, I guess if anything, it feels like a body high. Like I just feel very calm. Yeah.
You don't like. There's no high to it. There's more like a less like just like a relievingness to things. Yes. Is the best way I can describe CBD. It's like, I don't know. I could jump into a bit right here, but I don't feel like doing that.
I know the joke, but we don't want to spoil it for them.
It's all, you only have 3 jokes, so I got to save it for the stage. Yeah. And so no, I think CBD is a great new evolution to weed because it takes the quote unquote scary part out of weed for everybody was the pass on grassers over the last couple of decades or whatever. So it's neat to see like older people getting into it.
What was weird to me, because I bought the flower just, because it's like, I don't know about Charlotte or North Carolina, but literally in Columbia alone, there's 13 CBD stores. And
stopped at one on my way here.
Okay. So I got the pre-roll the first time, and then the second time I was like, I enjoyed the taste. They actually had a good taste. I didn't even know it would have a taste to it. So they had like the flour bag, and it's like, and when I rolled it up, my girlfriend was like, "That's horrible," and I was like, "All right, well you know how to roll stuff, I guess. Can you do it?" Like I didn't.
So you rolled a CBD blunt?
Yeah.
Nice.
Joint, but now I just get the ones you just pack in. Like it's already it's like raw, I think. Yeah, raw. That's the name of it. And you just pack it in. But it has good taste. I remember like watching people roll like tobacco cigars. So I guess you can't
spliffs.
Yes, maybe that's the name of it. But I try to do it the same way, and apparently it's not the same. So
I don't know. There's a trick to it. It's like something about the proportions of tobacco to the weed. Anyway, tobacco makes me cough uncontrollably. I can't do it.
I know people die from it, so I just leave it alone.
There you go. Nobody dies from weed.
Not yet.
That sounds like a challenge.
No, I just know when you tell people, "Oh, this has never happened," and
that's what I mean about rule breaking.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
We see it like Reefer Madness. Have you ever seen that movie?
I've seen it. Obviously it's the most referenceable anti-weed thing that has ever existed, and so I definitely have seen it, and I've seen like research on it or whatever, and like its effects and things like that, and just you think we're gullible these days, like back in those days, like that. Talk about being gullible, like.
It blows my mind that doctors would do commercials saying cigarettes were okay. Yeah. But then you see Reefer Madness, and it's like, this is the best parody ever.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like, I can't believe like people fell for it. But,
that's the biggest thing. Like whenever, like what was entertainment back in the day or whatever. And I don't understand how it wasn't perceived as entertainment rather than just like, public service announcement type thing. I think it was a whole movie.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why people just couldn't like take it as entertainment. They took it as like real, and like it made its way into the politics and things like that. And it's a weird world, man. It's a weird world.
Yes. So we went from that to, I want to say that was 68 maybe 55 or so. It was
it was in the 40s, I think.
It was in the 40s.
Reefer Madness.
Okay, maybe. No. Okay, maybe. I did not see that then. They made a sequel, maybe.
Oh, they might.
Because the one I'm talking about I saw yesterday on Amazon Prime, and it was from the 68. Maybe they made a sequel. It wasn't a good movie either way.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good movie either way. But that's why I was like, maybe they just made a parody of it, and that's what I watched. But it was not good.
I want to look it up now.
Okay. But just to see that they pushed the agenda that it gave you anxiety, instead of now that we learned that it doesn't. It actually does the total opposite. And then we pushed to like the 80s type pop culture, where you had Woodstock and 80s and 70s, and you had Woodstock and many other cultural events that embraced marijuana.
Reefer Madness, 1936.
Okay.
Boom. Nice. I don't know why I cared, but this is probably that's probably a personality flaw.
No, that's totally fine. Like that shows how like reefer, like marijuana, weed has been in pop culture. But to show that like even back to 1936, it was so much of like false information about it, And I say that you try to show that it brought anxiety onto people, and now we know pushing, let's say, to the 70s and 80s, Woodstock and many other things, and much more information came out about marijuana that became popular. It was still negative, it was taboo, but it was definitely pushing the culture into it being positive.
Now, what decade? I'm sorry, I blanked out. CBD got to me. What decade were you talking?
I was talking about the 70s, 80s,
Okay,
with
70s,
Woodstock and
right.
a lot of music and cultural events. Saying marijuana was good. You can tell that it was still taboo, but like it wasn't the taboo of this is horrible. It was more of like we do this in secret.
Yeah, it seems like the 70s and 80s is like when the intellectuals started getting into it and started getting a little bit of speaking power, and like the pop culture and the newses and things like that. And I think that's where ultimately everything started. And then, somewhere in the 90s, so the late 80s was the crack epidemic.
Yep.
And then somewhere in the 90s is where I started like running across it, maybe my teenage years and things like that. And all of my friends' parents that did it were like cool. Like I don't they were the cool parents, the ones that smoked the weed. No, but they
Okay.
No, I don't. But it didn't seem like it was an issue, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And they didn't make it an issue, and it seemed like they were like it wasn't taboo at home, but it was very taboo at school or like out in the public or whatever. So it's always had like I think that, and now from like the late '90s to like now, it's everybody that that we grew up with and our age range we're just like, yeah, it's weed, whatever. Like there's no harm to it, no foul or anything like that. Yeah. And I just think that's the pop culture from the 30s just wearing off.
Yeah, like we're more scared of alcohol now than we are of weed.
Well, for good reason too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we can look up statistics of DUIs. We can't look up the statistics of what people driving while high.
Yet.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. I feel like that it wouldn't be that scared. I think if we saw the numbers, it would be very low.
I think weed should be a requirement to drive on the road. Is that weird?
No.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't drive a company van, so it's okay.
Okay. Do you have any like weed movies that you enjoy that you like? That's your go-to.
Weed movies that I enjoy, like just purely about weed, or like movies that I saw like while I was high that I really enjoyed.
Anyone, buddy.
All right, fair enough. Pineapple Express is totally up there.
Yes.
That's all about weed right there. Any of the weed documentaries, I will stone out on those.
I love weed documentaries.
Any of them, like the cannabis business or something like that was one of them. It's almost like you have to like celebrate. If I saw like a documentary on apples, I want to go eat some apples at the same time. So Pineapple Express is up there, and I really like watching like Japanese fight movies, like samurai ninja movies and things. Like when I'm stoned, that's fun.
Old or new?
I like the newer ones, like the IP Man series.
Oh, nice.
Those were. Is it IP Man or IP? I don't know. I'm just kind of.
I want to say IP.
Yeah, it probably sounds more appropriate. So, but purely about weed, Grandma's Boy was great. Did you ever watch that?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Grandma's Boy is
not high, but very drunk.
Oh my goodness, Grandma's Boy was so funny. And then Old School, I don't think that was about, I just remember seeing that whenever I'd just gotten out of high school, and just that was like one of my first like all like smoking experiences was the movie Old School with Will Ferrell.
Nice. A few times I think I've always watched like kids movies, but it just, I guess the bright colors made it a little bit better.
That's where I'm at right now with this whole COVID thing, man. I got that Disney Plus, and I'm watching all the animated movies from back in the day and the newer ones with the CGI stuff. Like that's just good, wholesome stoner entertainment right there.
I think the first movie I ever watched high was Spy Kids, and I was like, you know what, this is still horrible, but this is entertaining horrible.
That's the whole point, the cheesiness of it. Have you seen that movie Velociraptor?
Mm-hmm.
Velocipastor. Have you seen that?
I don't think no. Not that.
Yeah, Velocipastor. I think it's either on Amazon or Hulu, but like look it up, and it is just a abstractly ridiculous movie about this guy gets morphed into a velociraptor, but he's like preaching. Anyway, like it's just one of those like stupid, ridiculous movies that is fun to watch high.
I know I can't watch Power Rangers high. I got more excited than my son.
Power Rangers. I saw it the other night too. It came on. It was I was geeking out on it too, man. That's that just flashes back. You know, there's something about it, especially if we're high. It allows us to like go back into like, you know, fun times watching the Power Rangers.
Yeah, it was because it was the first series, I guess, and you know he's 4, so he doesn't know what the Green Ranger's about to do. But I'm like, keep watching.
Don't look away.
Yeah,
this is the good stuff.
Yeah, you know. That's so sad. Do you have a favorite music that when it comes to marijuana?
So I do shows on the Funny Bus in Charlotte, funnybus.net. And I do a lot of disco music on there.
Okay.
And so like when you talk about music that I go to, like that's disco music jumps up to me. As far as like just kicking it and chilling, like I listen to a lot of music, so I'll put on some kind of like Pandora, like lo-fi station. You
nice. I love lo-fi.
Yeah, I love lo-fi, and that's that. If I'm like in the zone, like where I'm like having to like look at a screen a lot or writing a little bit, I don't want to be hearing words or anything. I just want to hear music.
Nice.
So I'll go with the lo-fi. Or a classical jazz type thing, and just depending on the mood. Maybe it's sunny out, I'll put some jazz on.
Nice.
You know, maybe it's gloomy out, I'll put on a little bit of lo-fi with some Evanescence musical in the background.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice. Well, you can't talk about the bus. Just to get off topic for a second. Do you do it with oh man, I forgot his name just that fast. It's a short black fellow. Does he still do
Not
the
anymore.
bus?
You're talking about Brandon?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon Wright.
Yes.
Shout out Brandon. I miss that guy a lot. He's my. Anyway, he ended up he was doing a lot of commuting to do the bus.
Okay.
And the pay just wasn't worth for the commute. Like I live in town, so it's nice. I don't have to commute too far. But he actually ended up starting his own bus up in Durham.
Okay, cool.
And it's called the Bull City Laughs. Shout out Bull City Laughs, Durham. And that guy's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's so funny.
Yeah, shout out to Brandon. Yeah.
I miss him a lot, man.
That's right. Last time I did see him was in up in Greensboro. So that's close to Durham, right?
Yeah, that's way close. Yeah. I think he lives somewhere in between Durham and Greensboro.
Cool.
I don't know where he's living these days, but so I do know him. I got to shout him out now. He has the most epic Funny Bus 1-star review that will forever live in infamy. 1-star review from this lady, and I can't remember exactly how it goes, but what he would do was he would wear a manger. I don't know. It was a baby carrier, and he would
the white baby,
and he would put a white baby doll in this baby carrier that was strapped to the front of his chest, kind of like on The Hangover, what Zach Galifianakis wore, and but it would be a fake baby, a white baby. And he called it his bulletproof vest, and that was the best thing. And this 1-star review is this lady just wailing about how offensive it was that Brandon had on a bulletproof vest that was a white baby with sunglasses on it. And anyway, shouts out Brandon Wright. And again, you guys look up TripAdvisor reviews for the Funny Bus. The 1-stars are the greatest.
I am doing that. Yeah, I forgot about the white baby. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
To get back to the anxiety, did you ever suffer from anxiety?
Maybe I've suffered from anxiety my entire life, and I didn't know that it was anxiety. To me, anxiety is like bad choices. It just seems like if you have choices coming through your brain, and like that's part of the anxiety, but like you know, if you're like worried about the decisions you just made or something like that just ramps up anxiety. So I've always felt like I make pretty good choices, and I don't let the anxiety crush me too, or at least I thought I didn't let the anxiety crush me too much. But I've been doing a lot of soul searching during this whole COVID experience, man. And I don't know, maybe anxiety isn't the idea of concentrating on anxiety is a cop-out, is how I feel, sort of, kind of. What do you think about it? Like, you're a medical professional. Like, I'm sure you have, like, a better
Thank you for saying medical professional. I appreciate that.
Is that right?
I mean, I wipe ass. But
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
I appreciate
I was
it.
trying to give you a little bit
No,
of credit.
I know. Let's stick with it. If people are willing to believe it.
Well, edit out your part that you just said.
No. If people are willing to believe it. I totally agree with you. There's no point to sit and dwell on anything, but I guess that's maybe becomes a part of their mental illness. That's how weed helps.
Right.
I don't know what each person deals with when it comes to that. So
yeah, I don't either.
Yeah. So.
I try to, I guess it just seems like when, anxiety. So let's say you have a test coming up, like we're going through school or whatever, finals is coming up. Your anxiety level goes up because you're like, I got this, I got to do this, I should be doing that stuff, and like that's all anxiety. And then but that pressure, what it's for and what has to happen to alleviate that pressure, the test just needs to go away. Really, and then the pressure goes away. But the anxiety ramps up on like, I got to do good on this test, and this is where I need to do great at it. And so if you take the steps to do good and do great at that test, then you pass it and you feel good, or you don't, anxiety, like what was anxiety? You know what I mean? Like, but now like it seems like the idea of a test coming up, oh gosh, I got to study for this. What do I need to do for it? Oh no, now I have anxiety. Now I can't do anything.
Yeah. I'm a true believer though. Anything is better than taking drugs. Like
True.
In general, like
True.
if you have to digest drugs, like your liver, especially if you take it too much, like you don't want that much on your liver in general.
What do you mean talking about?
Like whenever you digest medicine in general, it has to go through your body.
Oh, okay.
And you just don't want to take too much medicine or anything. So,
Right.
But I don't want to give an answer, and then it's like it's only for my body type, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Anxiety definitely, I feel like I haven't heard anyone say that weed hasn't resolved their anxiety.
Sure. Yeah. Weed's great for it. Just kind of, I think weed kind of numbs the anxiety. So like, if you're building up for the test, oh shit, I got this test coming up. Oh God. No, I'm not worried about the test coming up, but should I? I'm still going to worry about the test coming up, but I'm not like anxietied about the test coming up.
Are you one of the people that you can like do, like you could, let's use the word test. Do you feel like you could do a test, you could complete a test high?
So one of the tricks that I live by is that it depends on how you study for it. So like if you're studying for it, like, and you're just, blazing while you're studying, depends on the subject matter really. Then you should probably go in there in the same mind frame. Like otherwise it's going to be, a little bit different. I have heard like, it's never worked for me. I usually, if I'm studying, I'm usually not smoking. But I'm out of school now. So if I'm studying for something, it's just the driver's test, and I'm definitely high for that. But no, so the idea that weed can just numb the anxiety, it's totally works. But when it comes to like studying for the tests, like it's like, so you want to be as sharp as possible in order to do as good as you can on that test. So you can get high and study before it, but you just got to make sure you stay in that same mind frame.
So it's kind of like the how high approach, like study high,
Sure.
take test high. Okay.
I mean, there's some legitimacy to that. Now, I don't, when you're smoking, your brain's not working fast or whatever, but it's a lot of like repetition memory in there. If you're drinking, your brain's pretty dumb, and it's not, not thinking very well to like get yourself past the test or whatnot. But there's other drugs that, you can do those and have different effects on your studying and shit like that.
Yeah. When it comes to the different types of weed, like sativa and that's the only one I know. I think it's like two other ones, but sativa.
There's two of them. There's sativa and indica.
It's just two. Okay, sativa and indica.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think one works better than the other when it comes to anxiety?
When it comes to anxiety, I think indica probably relieves better, because indica is slang for into couch.
Okay.
So it's a body high, and you don't really, you kind of just like, indica is what that girl on the anti-drug smoking ad that like melted to the couch.
Yes.
That's what she had, was indica.
All right. Cool.
Sativa will take your brain, and like if you're concentrating on stuff, it'll just concentrate, and you'll just spiral, like thinking more and more and more about it. So I would think a sativa kind of doesn't alleviate anxiety as much as indica. Because indica, you're just, you feel melted, you got stuff to worry about. But a sativa will definitely get you thinking a lot more.
So sativa is more like the commercial where the girl was talking to the cat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's that sativa. Yep, that's it. Yeah.
To push on, like, weed is technically legal in other states.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado started it off. Have you been there since it became legal to smoke there?
Yes.
Okay. In your first-hand experience, how do you feel like that affected just the culture of that state, just being legal for the few years that it's been legal there?
Everybody's really happy with it because the taxes on it are ridiculous. And so the taxes are actually paying for a lot of like good up. My buddy lives out in Denver, and
that's a good friend to have. Isn't it?
Yeah, that was one of the reasons he moved out there, was because of the whole weed setup or whatever. And I think it's had very positive effects on the macro level. If you look at all the taxing base coming from the weed sales, it has like almost doubled their budget in terms of like operating, adding into things. But like on like a cultural level, it's nothing. It doesn't seem to change too much. I mean, you know what the CBD shops look like. They look like the same thing out there.
Wow, really?
Well, a little bit classier. There's a little bit more money going into it. I would say it's a blend in between like a very small CVS pharmacy with security features.
Nice.
And other than that, like, I mean, but it's still the same storefronts type things. But when you go in there, you have to like go into a room and you like show ID and all of that. And so like going into the weed shops it's like there's a legit feeling to it. There's not a sense of taboo or anything like that. And everybody seems to be in pretty good spirits. And every time I've been in there, like I'm blown away. They make coffee with weed in it now. I don't know if you knew that, but that's my day's done. Like, just give me that. I'm
good. I found out it was sour worms. I was like, you know what? They can do anything.
They got eyedroppers. You can just put it in your eye now. Like, it's just, I don't know where the end is.
I'd be scared of that one.
I know. Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, what's it like? Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, that's one where I'd be like, make sure it's weed. If it's acid,
sure.
This is all over. I hope this isn't a dumb question, but I've done the research on CBD before I took it, of course. When you went to Colorado, were their shops, did they have a stronger odor of marijuana?
It smells good, like real good. Like, yeah. So yeah, there's weed smell all in the air. Okay. And but it's like, it's not burning weed smell. It's just like fresh flower. It's like kind of like walking into, a flower shop here. You smell all the pretty looking flowers. Like it hits you. Yeah. Same idea. It's just weed smell that hits you. Yeah. And
just like at CBD stores, there's no odor. Like
everything. There's not a lot of odor at CBD stores. There's a little bit of odor at the weed stores. Like the potencies that they're messing with out those like in the legal states is ridiculous, and the prices are ridiculous too. Like the prices are just crashing right now. It is awesome.
Really?
Yeah. There's a company, Canvas, I think is the name of it. Anyway, it's one of the big giant like legal weed people. They're basically doing what Amazon did to the book market.
Yeah.
So where they buy on like lower price and then sell at a loss and things like that. They're doing that with the weed market, and they're just buying a boatload of weed everywhere, all across from wherever they can get it from, and then they're just putting it all into the legal markets, and the price is just going down and down and down.
So it's like old weed? Is that why it's cheaper?
Well, it's going to be old. But I mean, it's cheaper just because there's more competition. There's more. It's more abundant. It's not the price of illegal weed goes up because it's illegal, and you have to go like through all these hurdles to get it. But price of like, excuse me, price of legal weed is just going down and down because it's just an oversupply.
Nice. Last question for you. Just as much as like bars and movie scenes and talked about in music and many cultural events, bars serving alcohol has become just a standard now.
Yeah.
Do you think the idea of weed bars, I don't think there are many in the United States at this time, but do you think that will become a norm in the soon future?
Yeah. I do. I'm sorry, I'm having all of these bodily issues. Yeah. So in California, it's been legal for a while, like not recreationally, but everybody does it recreationally anyway. They actually have like weed bars, like hookah bars, and you go in and they have like you sit at at a table like this. There's like a contraption in front of you, and you basically you get your order, and they come up and they dab it up in front of you, and then like they burn it. Then you hit it like you're doing like a water bong. So those places exist already in California.
Yeah, my wife was telling me about it. I just didn't know do you think that will, in the soon future, do you think that would be the norm, just as bars are the norm?
You're talking
now?
about the norm. The norm, I don't think it'll be a norm type thing. I think it'll be an option type thing that's like acceptable, but I don't think you're going to see a norm take over like that, yet. I think maybe once it all gets legal, sure, but I think I still see people going out to drink alcohol
of
to
course.
Socialize rather than going out to smoke weed to socialize.
That makes sense. That's more of a let's go home and talk and watch something.
Yeah, weed is definitely you're bringing your energy level down, or if it's indica, you're chilling out. If it's sativa, you're trying to get on like an intellectual conversation that like you can just keep on talking in a stoner way or whatever. But alcohol, it's like there's much more action, like you're wanting to move around a little bit more body wise and things, and socially speaking it's just more of a lubricant rather than weed. It's more like I don't want to say detriment to hanging out and socializing, but it definitely doesn't inspire people to hang out. There's just a lot of shoulder shrugging when people get high.
Yeah, true. But thank you so much, man, for coming on to talk about weed and anxiety. Is there anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Follow me along, guys. whitejohn.net is getting up and running. It's a spoof album. I'm putting together some spoof songs, and that's all it's going to be is whitejohn.net, and it's going to be like my jump off. I got another jump off website. It's going to be whitejohn.net, and then Instagrams and all that. So I'll have a tip jar on there. You can buy the album and like tell everybody about it, and I don't know. Anyway, follow along. That's it, really.
Where can they follow you on social media?
At JD-Colwell, Colwell. That's my Instagram. That's my main thing that I use. I have a Facebook page that, I don't know, I'm not a fan of Facebook anymore. I think it's fallen off for me. So I'm mainly on Instagram. I don't do a Twitter. I have a Twitter. I just haven't used it in a while. I had to delete a lot of tweets. No, I don't know. Really just that website, whitejohn.net. That's the best way to follow along. I'm going to get some stickers, so I'll be legit with that. And and then I got business cards. You guys want to tip me and all that. So, yeah, it's cool.
Nice. Thank you again, man. And you guys have an amazing day.
Michael, thank you, dude.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, man. Let's hit this mic.